Hey, everybody, welcome to the Hoot Hobbs Show. I am your host, Hoot Hobbs. And with me, as always, Mr. BT, Brandon Torres.
Hey.
That was anticlimactic. Anyway,
What's up,
so we, milestone.
Yeah, we hit a milestone with this episode.
Yeah, this is our 50th episode of the Hoot Hobbs Show.
So those of you that didn't think we would get here,
Look at us now, still not getting paid, but, we're still, doing
we're still doing this thing.
Still doing the damn thing,
Getting better.
Oh, my God, I got my headphone cord is caught, and there we go. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So we got a whole lot, really, to talk about, and some of it we're going to get into, some of it we're going to keep pretty light, and starting out, I don't know, it seems to be kind of something we do a lot, but we're going to go ahead and share condolences to the Judd family, the country music superstar family.
Absolute legends in the country music industry.
Yeah.
Music industry as a whole because of, they broke ground considering some of the records that they were setting back in the late 80s, early 90s. With a, female duo breaking country music records in a predominantly male-dominated genre.
Yeah.
So condolences to the family, and I guess the reason that we're talking about it is because the Judd family has finally come out with trying to jump in front of the news because it was going to get out there anyway, that it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Yes, and I'm trying to tread lightly on this next thing that I want to talk about on this subject, okay? Because please understand that I do not mean any disrespect towards this family, towards this person, towards anything. That is not what I'm meaning. However, I did get a chance to watch Ashley Judd, her interview with Diane Sawyer about what had happened. Basically her trying to get up ahead of it and everything, and how the family had told her, hey, yeah, you're going to be kind of our liaison. You talk about what's happened. You can let everyone know because eventually it's going to come out anyway.
Yes.
And I understand that. I think they did a wonderful job of keeping their business private until they were ready to say.
I will say, I had no idea because I just thought, because I knew that she had health issues in the past with hepatitis C, because that's why she had taken a break from being a country music performer.
Exactly.
So
honestly, whenever I heard that Naomi Judd had passed, I was like, well, it's probably liver failure or something like that due to that.
Yeah, she was 76 years old, which is also hits close to home because my grandmother was 76 years old when she passed. So it's like I understand the age there and what we're dealing with, how tragic. What I did not know is that they were fighting against I guess E! News or TMZ or someone from releasing the real reasons, which would shock the world if it just came out.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to kind of manage it while grieving. It's got to be awful.
Yeah, and I'll go so far as to jump back on, you know how I always am about celebrities and paparazzi and all that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you this, those vultures with TMZ, E! News, all that kind of stuff, whenever it's a death, hey, back off.
Yeah, it's also like what you were talking about is those that are self-gratifying and seek out the attention so that they can
and then complain
themselves.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be like, Jake Paul does something and then complains to the paparazzi's in my face after
no kidding, you're Jake Paul and you're
just
an
got
idiot.
through saying something redonkulous.
Right.
Yeah, I got you.
So getting back on the subject though is like with Ashley Judd, I'm not... I don't know. I should probably leave it alone, but I'm going to point some stuff out. There's some problems with her story of, I'm not saying that what she's saying didn't happen. I believe that was 100%. I think she really tried to church herself up in this, though. And there's no reason to, but it's, okay, so check this out. She says that she visits her parents every day when she's at home in Nashville.
Yes.
And she said that she had gone to visit that day like she does every other day.
Yes.
Okay, great. Believe that. No problem. I have no problem believing that. She said that her mother had asked her, will you please stay with me?
Yes.
And she said, yes, of course I will.
This is like from the official Judd's family statement.
Yes. And then she said that I had gone upstairs to let her know that a friend had come to see her, and that's
was this Ashley or was this Winona Judd?
This was Ashley Judd.
Okay.
She had said that then she had gone upstairs to tell her, hey, you have a friend, a visitor, and that's when she had discovered her, a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Mm-hmm. you stayed there, and you then had to walk upstairs to discover you didn't hear a gunshot.
Yeah, I did wonder that as well, that she didn't hear
You know
the
what I'm saying?
The hearing an audible gunshot wasn't mentioned, although there may be a reason, because that is
Sure.
a traumatic thing that, lack of better description, is triggering.
Sure. Yeah.
But but I understand what you're saying. I thought
Yeah.
the same thing. Why wouldn't you mention,
I
like,
would
I
say-
heard a sound and then I went to...
Yeah, please understand that this isn't trying to come from a place of heartlessness or anything like that. Look, I was a cop for a long time. So information that doesn't line up sticks out really hard to me. So that's why I was like, well, that's weird. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. She lost her mother. She discovered her mother. And that in itself has to be the most awful thing.
Her mother had been struggling with
depression.
depression and all of the things associated with it. She was actually the reason that the family was in town is they were going to be inducted into like
The
a
Country Music Hall
of
of
Fame.
Yeah.
So it's
the Judds, Winona and Naomi, were going to be inducted.
It's really, really heavy subject matter, but
Yeah.
it sounds like the family may have known of some of those struggles with the depression, and I don't know if
The way it was presented in that interview, I would say that it's been a long struggle.
she's notably been out of the limelight of the performing for so long due to her health after years of being in the limelight. I can psychologically, I'm sure that would do some trauma. Plus, just being miserable and in pain.
Yeah.
Because, she had alopecia. I read a whole list of things. Like her hair it was starting to fall out. Her face was starting.
Yeah, she didn't look like Naomi Judd.
Yeah.
She didn't feel like Naomi Judd. And, honestly, suicide is never an answer, but especially someone who deals with similar things, I get it.
Yeah, I understand the thought process.
Yeah,
It's
that's it.
The action. It's the final action. I guess more or less. But I understand it all, just not the final action.
Yeah.
But
at 76 years old, she kind of. I think that there's probably a certain level of what am I cutting short?
Yeah, and there's a weakness and a feebleness you feel there too. And
sure.
We can't imagine it. If you or anybody you know is struggling like that, please reach out for help. Let someone know. Don't struggle alone.
Yeah.
That makes it worse.
Yeah, it does, man. Struggling alone is not worth it. And let me tell you something, especially men, because women are a lot smarter than we are. Because women, if they're feeling some type of way, they'll talk. They'll go get help. Mm-hmm. Our stupid asses will just sit around and be like, oh, well, I just got to suck it up and rub some dirt on it, and get more and more sick. And that's where I finally got to. And luckily, at a very young age, I discovered like, oh, you know what I could do? I could talk about it.
Yeah.
And not, kill myself.
It's kind of like letting the steam out on something. When the pressure's build up, you let it out, it whistles, some steam comes out, but it's equalizing the pressure on the inside. If you don't do that, you don't let some of that stuff that's building up inside out at some point to someone, something. I don't care if you have a pet that you just talk the pet's ear off incessantly. Get it out. Tell someone. Don't struggle and keep it all internalized, because that's ultimately... Sometimes your head is not your friend.
No, man. NF actually put out in a song that the mind is a powerful place, and what you feed it can affect you in a powerful way. And it's very true. And he also says that's not always safe. So, and I think that's, I like the fact that more and more artists are willing to put it out there. Like NF is a really big one for mental health.
Logic has been a big one for mental health.
God willing,
Mac Miller was one that
and succumbed
touched
to
on
it.
mental health issues.
But he was honestly, Mac Miller to me as a very young man was still had that man mentality. Like he would touch on it, but I'm good. But I'm good.
Then he
would
would self-medicate, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's how we lost Mac. Anyway, we'll get off that subject. But anyway, just our hearts go out, man. Prayers, thoughts, all that good stuff to because like we always make the joke, you always, especially with me, is like celebrities aren't people, but of course that's just a joke. They are, man, and I'm sure it's a heartbreaking experience.
Yeah, no, we don't ever want to hear about a tragedy like this happening to anybody, because at the end of the day, we are all just human beings. We are all the same. Created the same. We're all the same. So they suffer just like we do. You got to remember that. Have some compassion.
Yeah, that's
Don't be an...
Yeah. Well, hey, when all else fails, follow the rule. Don't be a dick. folks, Joe Rogan's at it again.
This is like, what, three?
This
three
is three
weeks?
now.
3 weeks?
This is three now. And Joe, look, we're fans, okay? All you got to do, send me an email, hoothobshow@gmail. You can find us on social. Send me a message, brother. We will be happy to come in for an interview, okay? Big stars like us.
We're not even that expensive.
No. I mean, like, I'll do it just for, like, just don't make me pay to come out there, and I'll do it.
Take me to lunch.
Yeah, take me to lunch, bro. And it don't even have to be fancy. You can take me to In-N-Out.
Drive-through. Yeah, take me to the drive-through.
Yeah, I would say, come on, Daddy, you can get me In-N-Out. Daddy, I'm in.
Well, down in, I think he was in Austin, Texas. So is there In-N-Out in Austin?
Yes. Well, there is in Houston. I don't know if there's in Austin, but I would assume if it's in Houston. Because in Austin, the only thing anyone expects you to be is yourself. Yeah. All right.
Keeping it weird since whatever they're established.
Forever. Austin's a weird place.
I like Austin, Texas. I'm not a huge fan of Texas in general because it can be a little oppressive and hot.
It's definitely hot. But, but major cities, I about to say the only thing about the major cities in Texas that's oppressive is the heat. You know what I'm saying? Dallas is a pretty welcoming place.
You can do whatever
I mean, maybe not Oak Cliff Drive, that
man.
place. I say Oak Cliff Drive's not welcoming. I took a wrong turn. Just trust me.
Drive to Irving, and you're not near the Cowboys football stadium. You might not want to hang around Irving.
Yeah, that's right. Just like Grapevine.
Yeah.
If you're not at the airport, don't be in Grapevine.
You look like us. Hang around Fort Worth and Arlington. Trust us.
You go a little south, you can get a little bit paler than me, and that's called Granbury. That's where my wife's family's from. So.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, neither here nor there. Joe Rogan has decided that with Disney stock starting to fall a little bit, which I have my own thoughts on why that is.
We touched on it 2 weeks ago.
Sure, yeah. But he says if they would like to get their stocks rising back up, he had a novel idea for them.
What's that?
They should hire Johnny Depp.
Oh, like you said last week, that Disney made a mistake. That even though he rejected them, your solution was offer him more money.
Yeah, he rejected you. Give him more money.
Yeah,
I got a jar of dirt.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, come on. Look, Jack Sparrow and Johnny Depp, that's the same person.
It's a franchise there. The thing is Disney has made so much money around that Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. I mean, it's a
Look at you pronouncing it correctly. Come on, it's Caribbean. Sorry. Go ahead.
Anyway, it's a theme park ride. It's everything.
Yeah. Way before it was a movie. It was a theme park
now
ride.
they've had to disassociate with the reason the franchise became what it was because of their star lead actor.
Who actually happens to be a victim of something he was accused of being the perpetrator of.
Yes.
Now, look, do I think that Johnny Depp is a good person morally? Probably not.
No. Does he need help with how he handles getting into fights and arguments and things?
Absolutely.
And the verbal things and the texts and the actions.
Sure, because he says some pretty heinous stuff.
Hateful stuff in the moment for sure, definitely. That I can understand not wanting to associate with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as far as them accusing him of being basically a person who just beats women.
Yeah, that's not right.
They've never been able to link that yet.
Exactly. And the day that they are able to prove that, hey, believe me, I'll call him everything like he's a coward, he's nothing, all that kind of stuff too. But here's the problem: they can't prove it. And I mean, you'd think this is not the first time he's been accused.
No.
And if they can never prove it, it tells me that he's just getting with some wild ones that looking to get a little bit of Johnny Depp's money. And now, look, I know Amber Heard has money, but she don't have Johnny Depp money.
No, and she never did until her name got bigger after she started, being spotted with Johnny Depp. Because that's kind of how that.
Well, after she clocked Elon in the face, she was kind of well known.
She hit Elon?
Well, I mean, all I'm saying is back when Elon Musk was dating Amber Heard, they were seen in public, and he had a massive shiner.
Oh, and I wasn't aware of that. I knew they dated, and I knew he had been subpoenaed for this case because there are some things in there where he's like a character witness, along with James Franco. So, well, it's because
why would James Franco be a character witness for anybody?
It's because he's the other man in some of the accusatory.
Yeah, but I'm here to tell you, like, Dave Franco wouldn't ask James Franco to be a character witness. He'd be like, "Nah, bro, he was Harry Osborn. The answer's no," and the answer's just no. But all I'm saying is with that Johnny Depp thing, there's questions I have. Like, I've seen videos, and all I'm gonna say is like Amber Heard was doing coke in the courtroom. Like there was. That's the way it looked, I'll say.
It is the way that it looks.
I can't say that is what was happening because I don't know. I just saw a video that could have been doctored, sure, but
it looks like massive amounts of cocaine if you watch all of the footage. So
it takes her.
I think it's one of those things where it's like people have got all of these hours of this live stream footage and they've just been watching it ridiculously close.
Just so they can pick stuff out.
And make it seem like this because out of context, you can make all kinds of things seem
you can make anything look like anything out of context.
Yeah.
So,
or you can make anything look like anything with deep fake technology. But again, we'll get to that.
Yeah,
later.
we'll get to that too later. That's strange.
We keep teasing the last segment of the show because we're excited to talk about it.
Sit down. Stay humble. Be humble, excuse me. Okay, so...
Yes, don't kill my vibe.
That was good. Hey, Bones, that was good. Did we just become best friends again?
Again.
All right. Okay, so we like having a little fun with this Joe Rogan thing. I am hoping that maybe Joe Rogan touches on something.
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar, yeah. Before next week, so I can be like, I told you, man, he's a fan. I just want to know, are you a fan, Joe?
We share an algorithm. What's going on here,
Yeah, what's
guys?
going on,
Is
man?
it Jamie? Is Jamie the one that listens? It's Jamie, isn't it?
It's Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
Yeah, hey, or Duncan, if it's you, I don't know.
Red band? No.
All right, so we'll move on past that, and so I was going to talk about. I just finished the Netflix series, and it's over now. Ozark.
Oh yeah, that's a fantastic series.
Okay,
I watched the first season of it, and then I quit watching it because just simply I'm like, this is good, but I don't want to I don't want to invest in this series, so I gave up on it. But it's good, yeah. No, Jason Bateman, right?
Yeah. And let me tell you something. Invest in it. It's 4 seasons long.
I heard it was like in a way the Sons of Anarchy-esque in how it's like heavy.
It's a very heavy show. It's a very dark show.
Yeah, that dark and heavy, like it's a serious. I guess that's the way drama, crime drama.
Okay. So basically, the rundown is this:
comedy.
The only comedy in it is really like some one-liners that are meant to be like, and they're not even meant to be funny. They're stabbing, but it just happens to be kind of humorous. Yeah. Gotcha. So Jason Bateman.
For those that haven't seen it.
Yeah, for those who haven't seen it, Jason Bateman launders money for a Mexican drug cartel. Yeah. He's based out of Chicago, but he moves his family to... Essentially, he moves them to northwest Arkansas, southwest Missouri, in the Ozarks, okay? Yeah. He moves them there to where he can invest basically into a town and launder his money through businesses where he ends up opening a riverboat casino, or, the Missouri Belle, which, kind of is... to me, pays homage to the Mississippi Belle or the Branson Belle, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's stuff that if you were around in our region, for sure,
then you'd be like,
inspired.
oh yeah, that makes good sense. Yeah. So I'm not going to get into every little plot twist and everything because there's a few of them, but I'm not even going to tell you how it ends because I'm telling you, it's so, to me, it is so worth watching that I won't even spoil it for you.
Do you get a finale to it?
Yes, you do, and it is this show is Jason Bateman at his absolute best,
which is saying a lot because he's
I am a huge
actor.
fan.
Yeah,
I like Nick the Fox on Zootopia.
Arrested, yeah, I do too. Yeah. Arrested Development was like one of the most critically acclaimed comedies of all time.
It's a great show,
and Ozark is too. For what it's worth, I believe he's been nominated for his performances in this. And the series itself.
But he's also the creator of Ozark.
Yes.
He's the director and the creator of Ozark. So I think that pays more homage to him than even Arrested Development, where he was hilarious. And that's why I like Jason Bateman so much. He can be that guy that you're his
horrible bosses.
Yeah, his dry sense of humor and is just very matter of fact. It makes you laugh. You can't help it. But at the same time, Jason Bateman doesn't seem to change who he is for a role. He just makes Jason Bateman fit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's really neat to see him do that. But Arrested Development, fantastic. Horrible Bosses 1 and 2, fantastic. Zootopia,
one of
I
the
love
rare
this book.
cases where a sequel is pretty good.
Yeah, it really is.
Because Anchorman, I watched Anchorman this weekend because it's on one of the streaming platforms. My apologies, I don't remember which one. Irrelevant. But Anchorman 2, I remember seeing that in theaters on a date, and it was so bad we walked out.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And once there was like him playing a flute in like a lighthouse, I was out.
Yeah, it was like the first one was so outrageous and out of control that you couldn't help but be like, "This is iconic. I love it."
Yeah, but then him talking to the dog and all of it is ridiculous.
Baxter,
the fight with all the celebrity cameos. Yeah, it's classic Will Ferrell stuff. Well,
yeah.
The second one was a reach, but
because it was like we're gonna try to do all the same jokes and basically do the same movie and just change a few things. It's not as funny the first time. We've heard the joke. It's it was funny. It was funny, but it's not now.
And now you're piling on it. And plus, I guess there's a balance to the stupid. And that's where Anchorman and Talladega Nights and these really dumb movies get it. Step Brothers. There's a balance. Like, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, you're going to fix the drywall now. It's funny, because you're still at 40, you're still being hounded like you're a little kid. That's the balance. It's funny, but it's serious. It's just whatever.
The way that I think of the humor being written in, we'll get back on subject here in a second, is like a Simpsons episode where they write a joke, and then within the joke, there's another joke.
Yep.
And then at the beginning, there was a setup to the joke that was also a joke, and then there's a payoff of the joke that makes the joke itself iconic.
Through using a joke.
Yeah, so it's like layers of the joke, but they do a single joke, and then they move on because it doesn't need to dwell. You don't need to linger on the joke. In some movies, they just beat a dead horse into the ground.
Yeah, they really do.
Anchorman 2.
Yeah, and as bad as it hurts me to say it, season 10 of Letterkenny
has jumped the shark.
It kind of beat the same joke over the head a few times, and it was still entertaining.
Yeah,
because I'm a fan of that show. I love it. It's fantastic, but.
I hate it when shows do that.
It's fear, like, okay, you ran out of ideas.
See, I fear It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is going to end up doing it. Last season was really funny.
I would say I've been fearing that since like season 26, which I know it hasn't been going on that long, but it seems like it.
No, but this last season was hilarious.
I know, it was great.
When they started off like they're the blame for everything that happened in 2020, you know it's going to be priceless.
Well, I think that...
Shoe polish.
God. I think that Charlie Day and Danny DeVito are just completely out of their minds, outrageous in that show, and it works. It just works so well, and like because you believe that Charlie Day's out of his mind.
Yeah, and you forget that that's Danny DeVito. That's Frank.
Yeah, you forget that Danny DeVito.
Twins, Batman Returns, everything else that he's ever
from
done.
his serious roles to his comical roles to
does he go all the way back? I think Taxi wasn't
yes,
yeah. So he goes back a ways.
Yeah, bro. I mean, that's crazy. How is Danny DeVito not aging either? You notice that he's not aging. He aged up until he hit 106.
Well, he's using Frank's shoe polish, hair color, hair dye.
Circling back, like Jen Psaki, Jason Bateman is fantastic in Ozark. Ozark is, and now please understand, this is a very dark show. It is a very violent show. It is not suitable for work. Nor children. It is a very smart show though. But it was too dark for my wife. She did not like it. She was like, it just, even the lighting in the show is dark.
The way that I have heard it described is, we go through these series of shows, and this would be like, you remember how Breaking Bad had encompassed everything. It got so serious, so dark, taken over, and people loved how real it felt.
Yeah.
This is like akin to that, where you can feel like this is happening around you, and there's nothing you can do about it, but this is happening around you. This is real life.
Yeah.
It might as well be a documentary.
And seeing how innocent people are getting pulled into, like in the show, innocent bystanders kind of unwittingly get pulled into it.
Because it's the cartel.
Yeah, and then they lose their life just because they were hanging with the wrong person at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's
It's a thriller.
There are certain episodes that are legitimately gut wrenching because you're like, oh my God, I cannot believe that is terrible. You know, because you obviously with any show you actually get into, if you're emotionally invested in the show, you're emotionally invested in certain characters,
You
right?
get sad if something happens. to them.
Exactly. You know,
like
at the-
spoiler alert, we got sad whenever Opie died in Sons of Anarchy.
Oh yeah, that was like everyone at the very final episode of Sons of Anarchy when Jax Taylor died. Everyone was like, "Oh, I just didn't see it coming." I was like, "Well, you clearly don't know what this is."
Where
okay?
you didn't ever see where this was leading
Because
from the
this was Hamlet. Okay.
and he was going to die from the beginning,
Yeah.
which is how we got there.
Yeah, exactly. That was the whole story. It was Hamlet. That was the whole story. But when Opie died,
That was a twist because his best friend doesn't die in Hamlet.
no, but he sure did in that, and the way he died was so brutal that you were like, oh my God, you know.
Yeah.
And so you have certain episodes like that of Ozark.
Yeah.
But
I guess what really caught us off guard whenever that happened, and that one in particular, is like we said, we had thought we knew where this series was headed because we knew the end game, but we didn't suspect that.
Yeah.
And Ozark does this too, right? You're saying that they hold you in there and you got something, and then all of a sudden twist. You never
Yeah.
saw that happening, and that changed the game
and
entirely.
let me tell you something. All the way up until the end, you sit there and you're like, well, seriously, there is a part at the end where you go, okay, I know this makes sense. This is how it's going to end. You know, you convince yourself, yep, nope, I see where the road's going. Cool. Oh my gosh, why did that happen? You know, and
what am I watching?
yeah, you know, this is a terrible, but I don't know. It's a fantastic show. I loved every episode of it.
It's up there on the escalon of Sopranos and
For me,
Breaking
yes.
Bad and
But you have to
SOA,
understand is like
The Wire.
The Wire, yeah,
Heavy.
yeah. The Shield, that was another
Shield,
good
that's
one.
a good one.
But for me, Ozark ranks up there with those shows. Yeah, and now I wasn't
I've
as
heard
big
that.
of a Sopranos fan as a lot of people were. I like the Sopranos, but
I feel the Sopranos was one that was disappointing in the end.
oh yeah,
Because
the way it ended.
The ending, especially because I know people have beaten that to death by now.
Yeah.
But the build to that ending was disappointing. Like
It
if they
was.
would have gone out like Walter White went out,
Yeah,
then
man.
you get it. My beef with Breaking Bad was I felt like they made the jump from Walter White to Heisenberg. The transition was building slowly, but then that
And then
last
all it-
season, boom, he's evil.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I didn't like
went
that.
he went from being a good man who's sick trying to make money so that when he dies inevitably he's going to leave a lot of money to his family they'd be taken care of. He was still a good man doing bad things, right? And then like you said, and the whole time there's been just one notch at a time turning where he's a little more okay with what he's
Yeah.
doing. And then in the final season, he's just this evil mastermind.
Yeah,
And I was like, hold on a second, Brian, you're not like that. We love
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
You were the dad on Malcolm, okay?
I know we're biased here because we're too close to the source material because the way we
Right.
felt, but the way Jax developed into the brutal psychopath that he was at
Yeah.
the end, you saw that building season by season,
yeah,
layer
every
by
episode,
layer.
he got just a little bit
Harder,
more
a little colder.
Yeah. They made a good jump between season 3 and 4 with him being in prison for over a year and he gets out. He's been
brutal.
stabbed. He's a little more ruthless, but he's still got that good heart.
Yeah.
And then by like season 5, he's still got the good heart, but you can tell everything's getting real heavy
And
on
it-
him and he's getting fed up.
And at that last season, he has a game plan and an end.
Oh,
an
yeah.
end
And
game.
he knows exactly what's going to happen and he's going to make it happen.
Yeah. So I feel like Breaking Bad didn't do that.
Right.
And I'm hoping Ozark, you're saying they do a good job of
Bro,
making this character.
Ozark has such a conflict that is so relatable because, like, what you say, this part shouldn't be a surprise and it won't ruin anything. But, like, you do see that progression. But, okay, Marty and Wendy Bird are the character names, Jason Bateman and I cannot, Laura Linney? Does that sound right?
Yeah,
I don't know
maybe.
if that's right. Anyway, the lady who plays his wife. Marty Bird and Wendy Bird, played by Jason Bateman and Laura Linney, their progression is opposite. Okay? Marty is the one who gets them involved.
Okay.
Because his business partner gets him involved. And once he finally realizes what's going on, this is all happens in the first episode of the first season.
Yeah, setting up the whole point.
His business partner is killed. And they basically say,
You're responsible
for this. So he got into it to make some extra money. Then he realized, oh, no, I'm in over my head. So the whole time, he's trying to do all these bad things and trying to keep it from his family and trying to do all this kind of stuff so that he can keep everyone safe. And then he's trying. Everything for Marty Byrde is a means to an end.
To get out.
Yeah, I am going to do this so that I can get out. Well, the problem is, as his family finds out what's going on, his children help him, which I'm like, you guys aren't good parents. I'm just going to let you know you're not good parents. All right. I know they're teenagers, but they shouldn't be involved in the cartel. Anyway.
I feel like you shouldn't have to say that disclaimer.
Yeah, I
too.
feel like that's not a disclaimer. I feel like that's something that like most reasonable people would be like, you know what? I don't think I want my children involved in a Mexican drug cartel.
You know what, Marty Jr.?
Yeah.
No cartel for you tonight.
Yeah, you know what? That's it. You're grounded. No cartel for a week. Be like, but Dad, they're going to cut off my elbows. I'll be like, what? How do they do that? What do you mean? Anyway, but Wendy Byrde, his wife, as she discovers what's going on, she's mad at him for getting him into it, all that kind of stuff. You know, as you would expect any woman to be mad at you for getting her into a life of crime. Yeah. Problem is, she starts seeing the power that comes with it, and she becomes power hungry. And at the end of it, they become direct opposites. Marty wants out. She's keeping him in. And it's just such a struggle, man. And it's
everything the series revolves around in a way.
Yeah, and cool. but it's like it's so good, man. Like of course, you know, I'm into it anyway, but the violence of this show is, especially dealing with, you know, a Mexican drug cartel.
Of course.
It's brutal. A violent life, right? But they do not skimp on
realism.
What this is, you know. Innocent people, you are not safe. You know what I mean? That's the type of, and I don't know, man. All I'm going to say is a fantastic show. Hey, if you're listening, watch Ozark. Yeah. If you're not comfortable with foul language and violence, don't watch Ozark. But if those things, if you can look past those things, this show
maybe one day it'll be edited down and put on AMC for you to watch with commercials or something. But right now,
this is a raw and gritty show. It is. Yeah, it is Jason Bateman at his best.
I could see how they could try to syndicate it and throw it on FX and rerun seasons or something.
Sure.
But you're right. If you're for the faint of heart, don't watch Ozark. I can say that from what I have seen of the series.
Absolutely.
I started it when it first happened. I was like, I love Jason Bateman. Hell, we live here in Ozark.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll watch this.
Yeah.
And it was good. But like I said, I was like, I can't invest in another show because I just got coming down off of Sons of Anarchy.
Right.
I had invested, 8 seasons in that or however, 6 seasons?
7.
Yeah, but...
Oof. Well, Ozark is a 4-season show.
That's good.
So, I mean...
And before that, it was Breaking Bad.
Which has 126 seasons. I'm sorry, Breaking Bad is one that I really enjoy. But man, let me tell you, getting past that first season
was tough.
Was tough.
It's a hump, man. It is. That first season is so disconnected from the way that the show goes the rest of the way. Like, once you meet the Mexican guy in the scrapyard, that's when the real story starts.
Yeah, and it gets very interesting and easy to watch.
Yes.
That first season, though, when it's just Walter and Jesse, you're like, this show sucks. I don't know how it got a second season, but I'm glad it did.
I am too, because the rest was history and the way that it took off, and it revolutionized television.
Yeah, I mean, look at the spinoff, the El Camino, the Netflix original film that came out. Did you watch El Camino?
It's Jesse's story. Yes, I did. I did watch El Camino.
It's Jesse after Walter.
Yeah, I saw El Camino, and I've seen parts of Better Call Saul, which is still good, but.
I don't like Better Call Saul.
Odenkirk does his own thing. He's completely different. The show itself feels different.
Yeah, it does, and it feels disconnected from
tertiary references to the show that you and
exactly because Saul was nothing more than Walter's attorney.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I didn't care for Better Call Saul. Now, I haven't given it a full chance either. I've only watched like 2 episodes, and I was like, I remember season 1 of Breaking Bad. I can't do this.
And it's like but Saul got on my nerves when he was on the show.
Yeah, exactly. And like he's just such a loser, in Better Call Saul, like the first couple episodes.
Such a slimy attorney.
Yeah, and then he's not even good at it. So you're like, this is stupid. But I'm gonna try to give it another chance. But right now, I was like, this sucks.
Well, there's probably a reason why he, it keeps being so compelling.
Yeah.
The character itself is compelling. But
Sure.
You're right. It's one of those things where I think they're trying to milk it. Like Walking Dead got all of its sequels.
Bro.
It's the sequelization of things that were once popular.
Yeah.
Instead of coming up with something entirely new, gets frustrating.
It does. And look, like I was a huge fan of The Walking Dead up until like, I don't know, whatever Andrew Lincoln's last season was. After that, I was like, hey, I love Norman Reedus, but I'm just out. This is too much. I get it. You're going to find a safe place. The zombies or other people are going to ruin it. Then you're going to be on the run out in the woods trying to fight off zombies or people who look like zombies. And then you're going to find another safe place and you're going to live a season there.
I agree.
And then either zombies or people are going to mess that up for you.
Personally, they could have ended it with the governor.
Oh, yeah.
They could have
even with the Negan thing.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They did keep going, and then they got Negan. You're right. They could have even went as far as Negan, and that could have been your conclusion. But it felt like everything after that point was just...
and let me tell you,
we're beating
man,
a dead horse, man.
Once the Whisperers showed up...
Zombie, come get me.
Yeah. Well, and once the Whisperers showed up, I was like, okay, so we are sticking with the graphic novels, and I get that, but we could compress this. Because there were times that our group was dealing with the survivors and the Whisperers at the same time. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, it doesn't matter. Look, we've been talking a lot about TV, but I want to switch us over into music because my man, the boy from Louisville himself, Jack Harlow, has put out a new album.
He's trying to overcome the last album. He proved that it wasn't a sophomore slump, that his EP was solid, and then his debut album was good.
Yeah, and it was.
And now First Class it's his lead single on this new album.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I like First Class. I think it's catchy.
It's got the glamorous sample from Fergalicious, and it's a good hook. It's catchy, and I'm sure that sample itself.
But honestly, aside from his hook, because of the nature of the beat and everything, his flow sounds a little bit sluggish.
It's soft too.
Yeah, and I don't know.
It's a poppy song, but without like the hook that keeps you going.
Yeah,
like if anything, it's the First Class.
Yeah,
and if you want to hear that, Fergie has a song where she sings First Class Camberless.
I must say that's a Fergie song.
Yeah.
So the part that you like of Jack Harlow's song is actually a Fergie song. So just, there's that.
Yeah. There's remixes with hip hop in it.
Yeah, sure. Tons of them. But, I don't know, man. I'm a fan of Jack Harlow.
I am too.
I have not heard this album yet, but I have, of course, heard First Class. And
I have heard this album, and I fear it may be a bit of a sophomore slump.
Okay.
And you know how it happens, and I hate to be this guy to point it out, more or less, but with white rappers especially.
Yeah. If you hit a sophomore,
wall,
it's done.
Like Machine Gun Kelly, once he
hit the wall was called Eminem.
Yeah. Once you hit a wall in the game of hip hop, and you lose them, it's a fight to get them back. Yeah. I'll say that.
I mean, because look, I'm not a super huge fan of Marshall Mathers as a person. Just whatever. But as an artist, you can't argue with the fact that he didn't hit a wall.
No, he kept going.
Everyone said like, what was it, Relapse?
Yeah, whenever
Relapse is terrible.
When he got heaviest on his drugs, he released a couple of albums that were weaker than what we were used to. But then he made a comeback.
Yeah,
he quit dyeing his hair. He let his hair go dark. And he made a comeback and did No Afraid and the Love Your Lie or whatever that was with Rihanna.
Love the Way You Lie.
Love the Way You Lie. Yeah. He did that song with her.
I Need a Doctor.
And became, boom, a hit maker again.
Yeah, exactly. And now he's following in the footsteps, man. He's a producer now and a damn good one.
Yeah. He's found some real talent out there. And
man.
He does what he does. And even now, his last album was really successful.
Yeah.
And
what, Kamikaze?
No, Kamikaze was the one before the last one. The last one was the Songs to Be Murdered By.
Oh, yep. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Which, great title. I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. That is a great title for
Hey,
an
I
album.
love the song Godzilla. I know you're not a big fan of
Well,
speed
because
rap,
the speed rap, I'm like, look, if I want to listen to Busy Bone, I'd do that.
But I enjoy the speed rap, but I like some speed rappers. But also, I like going through and analyzing the catchy punniness. When you go back, it's like, okay, I missed it. I'm gonna hear it again.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wait, there were 2 references there.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Yeah, I like doing that.
Sure.
And seeing how many of them they can get.
Yeah, and I think that is cool. I think it's clever.
I can never speed rap. My mouth does not move that fast.
Exactly. I just end up going.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not a big fan of speed rap just because I can't understand it, and I like knowing what knowing what to listen to, unless you do like you're talking about going back and finding all things. Yeah. I get it, man. It's kind of like finding Easter eggs in a movie whenever you go back and listen to it.
I like seeing how cheeky the rappers can be as well.
Yeah.
Because that's always my favorite part of hip hop is the layers.
Yeah.
Like an ogre. It has layers.
Yeah. Not everyone likes onions. You know what? Everyone likes parfait. It's got layers. You ain't never asked somebody, you want some parfait? And they say, no, I don't want no damn parfait.
That'll do, donkey.
Okay, so let's just jump off of Jack Harlow because, I have more important artists to talk about, in my opinion. One that I like more than Jack Harlow.
Oh, yeah. The critics seem to love him, too.
Oh, man. Hey, the man himself, Mr. Sit Down.
This is for you, Joe.
Kendrick Lamar has put out his first album in 5 years. The first album he's put out since Damn.
Yeah, the critically acclaimed Damn that was like what the song Humble.
Yeah.
And
oh my gosh! Well, because that was the giant on that album. Loyalty. Yeah,
I have the album on vinyl. So it's like
I don't have it on vinyl because I'm not a hipster, but I do have it on my phone.
I don't have it on my phone anymore. DNA, that was one.
Yeah, there you go.
DNA. But yeah, no, critically acclaimed, great song, still bangers to this day.
Oh yeah,
hasn't released anything. We did see him perform at the Super Bowl with the medley of artists we saw. The Los Angeles-based hip hop performers that we saw.
And I thought that was great that Snoop and Dre and all these guys, and then there's Kendrick Lamar. I was like, what is Kenny doing there? But it was awesome. So Kendrick Lamar has a new album out.
First, he released a brand new single.
Yes,
called
The Heart Part 5.
Yes.
And if you have not listened to The Heart Part 5, okay, first off, let me go ahead and weed out people. If the only thing you're going to listen to is Florida Georgia Line, this is not for you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is rap music.
Yeah, this is hip hop music. But let me tell you something. I know that I've been throwing this compliment out a couple times today, but this is Kendrick Lamar at his best. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about when it comes from speaking from the heart.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. This song ain't quite as, this ain't,
Bitch, don't kill my vibe.
Yeah.
Swimming pools, drank.
Yeah.
Headshot, drank.
Yeah.
No.
It's not like that. But this is heart. And this is a message.
Yes.
And this is Kendrick Lamar, man.
And he's speaking for others, for himself. He's speaking to others from himself. He's speaking to others from the perspective of these other voices.
Of other people, yeah.
So do yourself a favor, even if you don't want to hear it. Yeah. Watch this music video and just freak out.
Yeah, because we'll go ahead and spoil something for you. It doesn't spoil anything because you still got to see it to believe it.
Yeah.
But they use deepfake technology to cast other people's faces onto Kendrick Lamar. Listen, this is not your typical music video where there's booty shaking and lowriders bouncing. Okay,
yeah, this isn't
it's not a T-Pain video.
Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B. we're not talking that kind of a music video. This is very very straightforward. Yeah, it's Kenny.
Yeah, and he's just standing there and he's rapping. And as he starts to give a message, maybe a message he would want to give to Crenshaw, the face of Nipsey Hussle is what's being casted on him. And it's so real looking. It's so weird.
Especially because right now Kenny's let his hair grow out. He's got braids. So I know Nipsey had, braids and cornrows and things in his hair at the time. But it's eerily...
It's eerily similar to looking. I know it's his face,
and it's deep fake technology, so it's supposed to, but it's kind of creepy.
Yeah,
how
because
the face
you're
shifts.
Watching Nipsey rap at you again.
And the message is like it's coming from Nipsey too, because he's speaking to the people in Crenshaw from where he's from about what had happened and how he wants them to proceed.
Yeah, and so how you can do better.
Yes,
and I think that's something I've always respected about Kendrick Lamar. Is that his message has been not a us versus them. It's been a, hey, they did some bad stuff and so did we. Let's work together and let's make this right. And I think that that's such an important message to have out there now. And I think that Kendrick Lamar is the type of person who can actually do good with that message.
Yeah, and he actively attempts to be. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He may be angry black man.
Sure.
But he has angry black man with a purpose and a message and a motivation to do good.
But I agree with that. I'm actually just going to add on to it is the fact that it doesn't seem like he tries to point all of the blame in one particular area. And I'm not going to get into that because everyone probably knows what I mean. But he doesn't point all the blame at one person or at one group of people or anything like that. He says, it's your fault, just like it's my fault, just like it's their fault, just like it's everyone's fault. The reason we are is because we won't change, and we can, and we should.
And he even, here's how.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the deal. If you listen to his music, he'll tell you how.
Yeah.
And I have this whole new respect. Like once I actually started listening to not just this new thing, but to all of Kendrick Lamar's stuff, it's been with him the whole time. Now, don't get me wrong, he's got bangers that drank.
Yeah. Yeah, he's always been painting a story or painting a picture with his story and his words, and he's always done such a great job. Like some of those albums, it's like you're there with him in those moments doing those things, or you're there with him as he's sermonizing you about these things that you know that you are going on, and you damn well could probably do something better about it, but you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not taking any action or doing anything.
So shame on you.
So shame on you.
Yeah, and I think
get
that's
it.
great.
I get it.
I think that especially after hearing the Heart Part 5,
I'm excited to hear the album.
Yeah.
It's released. This is May 13th. So it's released today, the full album. So I'm interested to hear that and hear how it all goes together. But I have high hopes for it, and if it's anything like anything he's ever released before, it'll be good.
Yeah, I would say Kendrick Lamar is a.
And believe me, if it's not, we'll tell you next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any problem calling out garbage either. But if anything can get close to the Heart Part 5,
well, he's always done such a great job of painting that picture of what it's like being from South Central Los Angeles or living in those hood-like areas. Even if you're not from South Central Los Angeles, if you've ever lived in a neighborhood or in a situation like that, you can relate to these feelings of struggle that go on with trying to do good when everything around you is doing bad, because that's the circumstances you grow up with day to day to get by. It's one of those things. It's either you or them, that kind of a mentality.
So speaking of the you or them mentality, I can't help but notice your shirt. You are wearing a Boys in the Hood shirt, which fantastic piece of cinema.
Great movie.
They got Ricky, man.
They did get Ricky.
They got Ricky. And
hey, Doughboy got some retribution.
Yeah, that's it. Look, I think Boys in the Hood is an awesome movie. And it, during that era, in the same area that we're talking about, that was life.
It was.
That was life, man.
And in some parts, it may still be like really, really violent, and every day's a struggle.
Right, and so basically, what got us talking about this earlier before we were recording was we were talking about Boys in the Hood and talking about like movies like Menace to Society and how they were both dark, but Menace to Society was even darker than Boys in the Hood. But like it painted a real picture about the way things were. I can't speak to were because I'm from rural Arkansas, okay? But I'll just say they were, or they are, or what have you.
Especially from the images that have always been painted to us, and from the things that we've seen come out of there, like during the L.A. riots. And such,
exactly.
Rodney King verdict.
Things
like this. Yeah,
NWA was spawned out of this. I mean that's the type of culture that it was and everything, and we were talking about that, and then we led into talking about how things have changed, though, and about how that image that, the boys in the hood are always hard. You come talking that trash, they'll pull your card.
Yeah.
Want nothing in life but to be legit. All right, I'm sorry.
I won't quote you, Hoot.
Yeah, because I ain't saying shit. Anyway, anyway, how it's changed, though. in hip hop culture, and we'll call it hip hop culture instead of gang culture because because a lot of times they coincide, right?
At least the gangsta rap scene.
Sure.
There's hell, if you go on Apple Music or Spotify, you can type in gangsta rap, and it will pull up music referring, referencing what we're referring to.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a young man by the name of Daniel Hernandez, who became known as Tekashi 6ix9ine.
The snitch.
The rat. The rat. Dude ratted out the Trey 9 Bloods. What? And you're alive.
Yeah, he's living in witness protection. And
he ain't too protected because he's out on his own a lot. People keep getting videos of him on reels where he's at a gas station.
He keeps coming out and doing that, which is really dangerous considering the amount of people that have basically him between their sights, more or less.
So, a couple things. Number one is, I actually don't think he's in danger anymore. I believe that he's bought his forgiveness. I think that because that's the only way I could see him still walking.
The way that documentary kind of sounded on Hulu as well.
Exactly.
He's starting to grease the palms of the right people so that he can be fine.
Once again, the people that you ratted on, they're still people. And people can be corrupted. So it doesn't matter.
Especially people that were already corrupt to begin with.
Exactly. So you grease their palms. They decide, all right, you can live, but you just got to pay a VIG for the rest of your life. Well, he's got money.
Yeah, he can pay that VIG until he can't pay that VIG, and then he's got a new issue.
Yeah, exactly. You got a whole new issue to deal with, homeboy. But my question is this. We've always heard it. Even though we weren't in like a blood, crip, vice, street gang, we live. Look, whether we like to admit it or not, we lived gang lifestyle.
Yeah.
In a motorcycle club, we did because nothing else. That was the number one priority of our life.
We were about it pretty hard.
Yeah. So
we would have dropped everything else for that club.
Yeah, exactly. And
we didn't have kids at that time, for what it's worth.
Yeah. Well, I did. But towards the end, I did. But that's also
when we started this damn thing, we were just kids with this weird dream.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, could you imagine if you would have gone to jail because of something I said? Like I dropped the dime on you to get myself out of trouble.
Okay.
Would you have ever forgiven me?
Not without...
Well, without the same kind of growth that we've gone through, right?
Well, yeah, no. I was going to say not without there being some type of retaliation or retribution.
Yeah, there has to be something.
There's got to be a payback for the action. Otherwise, you look like you've been disrespected like a punk.
Yeah, I was saying, you look soft as you can look.
And surprisingly, I hate phrasing it this way. In gangland America, word spreads quickly whenever you make a punk move.
Yeah, it does.
Like, everybody knows.
Yeah.
So, I understand what you're saying. It's smash on sight.
But, yeah, exactly. And this dude just walking around here. Look, we won't even stay on him too long. But what I'm going to say is there's a Hulu documentary called 6ix9ine. If you're interested in learning about what happened with Tekashi 6ix9ine, you should watch it. It's a pretty good documentary.
But it also points out that don't always think just because you hear somebody on an album, on a verse, popping off about all of these things that it's...
that they're actually about it.
Yeah, that it's a legitimate thing, because in the case of this, spoiler alert, he paid money to the right people to purchase the image that he currently has.
Exactly. He didn't get jumped in. He wasn't
a gangster on those streets.
Yeah, he bought his way into the Trey 9 Bloods
because they could use him.
Because they could use his image to get them more clout, and he could use them to get himself more clout. That's all. It was a business arrangement.
Yeah.
That's why it didn't break his heart to rat on him.
The problem that I have with this man, though, is like whenever he's doing these things now, like I'm going to go out to South Central and pay my respects to Nipsey Hussle at his graveside or at the spot where he got shot.
Yeah.
And there's no sincerity behind it because you know why there's no sincerity behind it. We're not going to talk about why there's no sincerity behind it, but you know that there's not. He's just antagonizing.
Yeah.
So he's got to be careful with this type of thing because these are real things.
Yeah,
but like you said, he's still doing this and nothing has happened. Perhaps he has paid a VIG to the right people.
That's what I think's happening. But hey, what do I know?
All I know is that gangsta image isn't quite what it used to be. Like
I
whenever
agree.
we were growing up in the mid to late 90s, being gangster rap image, being hard was most important over everything
Yeah,
else.
that's
You gotta
right.
appear tough,
Yeah.
appear dangerous. Like
Yeah.
if you mess with me, I will take your life.
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
the image that you wanted to perpetrate. Now it seems like while you want to look tough and cool, you also want to say something profound that people like to
Yeah.
hear. Or they want to have a good time when they're around you, so they want to hear about how fun it is to be around you.
Yeah, right. And like I think that the as far as like in the mainstream goes, I think the gangster is a
And
dying
big
breed.
booty women.
Well, yeah.
That's never going to go away from hip hop, I don't think.
I don't, why would it? You know what I mean? Like, hey, don't get away from something that still works. You know, hey-o. But yeah, I think that at least in mainstream hip hop, I think the gangster might be a dying breed. I think it's about the party boys. I think it's about the philosophers. I think it's
Yeah.
about the
The more profound intellect
Yeah.
inside. Like, who are we saying are the most profound rappers? Let's take a trip through time. Back in like 1992, you would have said things like Dre and Snoop, because they're painting this picture of this image
Sure.
of what is really happening in these streets.
Sure.
Now you're getting these guys like Kenny and Cole who are not only telling you what's happening, they're also like, come on, guys, we're going to strive for better than
Yeah,
this.
it's like, hey, look, I ain't even like, but you know, like J. Cole is great by saying he's like, I ain't in that.
Yeah.
I'm above that. You want to know how I made my money? I got above it, and you know, he's not wrong.
No.
And J. Cole's another tremendously talented hip hop star. I mean, GOMD. That is my that's my jam, bro.
I feel that one a lot sometimes.
Yeah, I do too. I think the man upstairs said, "You ain't me, and I ain't you." Woo. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for sticking with us as always. You know what? If you don't know how to get a hold of us by now, that's your problem.
We are getting a lot more interaction on our
We are,
socials
and that's
lately,
nice.
and it is very nice. We're getting more people sharing things as well,
Yeah.
I've noticed, which is also nice.
Yes, it is. So, you know, for you guys who are just now finding out about us, because honestly, hey, we've only been doing this just under a year.
Yeah.
So there's probably still people that are here local that are just now like, oh, hey, yo, I know those guys.
And plus, if anybody tried to catch on in the beginning and the show is different now than it used to be. But this is kind of
is.
the way that the show is. Now
We-
we have the option still if we ever want to bring in someone else to talk with them.
Yeah,
but
man,
more or
we've got
less,
those
this is how
options.
our show is.
Yeah, man.
This right here, we do this each and every week. We do a live stream each and every week. We didn't look like we had anybody talk to us a lot on our live stream this week, but
No.
that's neither here nor there. That'll grow as we grow.
Sure.
But please hit us up, talk to us, interact with us. We've had a lot of fun interacting with y'all, so just keep it up.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, find us on the socials. Find us on your favorite podcast platform. Make sure to follow. Make sure to download all that good stuff. Find us on Twitch, and I'm assuming we'll be on YouTube eventually, but we're kind of busy, so whatever. We love you guys. We thank you guys. From BT and from myself, we bid you good night.